Happy New Year, Kensie. Welcome back. Where have you been?
I know. Just hanging out with family and friends for the holiday, but it went by so fast. And yeah, I'm like not ready for this, these cold winter months. I'm pretty much just going to hibernate for the next like 4 months.
Right. I like to nest. You know what I mean? I really do. I love to nest, even if it's in a chair.
Oh, same. And today's one of those perfect days for me because we're getting this massive snowstorm in the Ohio area. And I think like other states surrounding us too are getting it. But it was like one of those things where schools are closing and the grocery stores are packed. And I waited until the last minute. I went this morning, which is my fault. But like everybody's like ready for this huge storm, and I doubt we're gonna get anything but like a couple inches. So I just have to laugh at that because I'm from Michigan and I'm used to like several feet of snow, and then when they say that we're getting like 3 inches here, everybody freaks out.
People are so funny to me, and I know I'm a person, but people are so funny to me because that happens like 99% of the time when it comes to big storms, and nobody
Right.
learns from it. They just You know what I mean? Like they go through the same thing every time, and I don't. At a certain point, to me, that's insanity.
Right. It feels like an apocalypse in a way. And it was funny because when I was checking out, like the store wasn't terrible. It was busy, but like I had friends that went yesterday and they said they waited in the checkout line for 45 minutes. I waited behind one person. So I said to the cashier, I was like, wow, it's actually not that bad here. Like, obviously there's a lot of people, but it's not terrible. And she was like, oh, yeah, you should have seen it at like 8 a.m. And they said they had to call in like another truck of groceries to bring in, and then people had to restock it. I'm like, well, yeah, like, of course people are going to go crazy. Like, you would think grocery stores would be a little bit more prepared for this stuff, too.
Well, so like I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, but I don't think it is a conspiracy. But if you just look at like how it all feeds sales and the economy, like the way that the system is designed, it's like, oh, well, we use the weather as a way to sort of, drive a little panic into the market. Okay, that's great. The same way they do with anything else in the news. And
right,
people get worked up every time that there's a big storm coming, and it doesn't matter if there is or there isn't. And it's just funny to me because, like, you should, in theory, have enough stuff in your house to, like, get by for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not everybody can afford to do that, but, like, you should have enough, like, toilet paper. Like, you shouldn't have to go raiding the shelves for toilet paper. I mean, everybody should have enough toilet paper to cover, every bathroom, have enough paper towel in the house to cover whatever. I don't know. To me, that just seems like they seem like staples. So why are these people all running out at the last minute? There's a storm coming. Like, what do they think?
Right. Like, at the very least, things might, like, the roads might be bad for, like, a day. Like,
right, but how much toilet
generally
paper
speaking,
it's just crazy. Look, I remember one time being in a store and like grabbing, like, there was no toilet paper left, and I'm like, I'm gonna grab these baby wipes because there's nothing left here, and I came all the way here. I don't know. This was like one of the big hurricanes when I first moved to Florida.
Yeah.
And then I look and there's like some mom with a baby and nothing left on the shelf, and I'm like, take these. Like, here you go.
Jeez.
Because it's like like people are like, their carts are full.
Yeah.
So they like, there is a certain aspect where I think it's driven, it's just this human condition. Like, the media just drives us to do things,
Yeah, it's actually funny. So my previous career that I had was I worked with P&G, and I remember during the pandemic, we put out coupons for every single product that, P&G has, and they actually started to pull back all of the coupons for Charmin and Bounty, just because they knew that like people were going to buy it anyway. So they're like, why would we incentivize people with coupons? I was like, that's crazy. And it was nice having a little bit of like an inside scoop too, because I would get like text from my client and she would be like, go get your toilet paper. It's about to run out. Like we're pushing out a bunch right now. Go get it because it's going to be off the shelves in like a day. So it was nice to have like the inside scoop, but it was that was a crazy time. Like I feel like the pandemic, you can relate a little bit to like these natural disasters, like the storms and other things like that. Like people are just going crazy in the stores.
It's the same idea. And again, I don't think it's a conspiracy, especially when you just shed light on it from that perspective. Like, why do we need to incentivize people with coupons when they're already being incentivized? If they're looking at it that way, then that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, well, it costs them money to put coupons out there, so they're like, why would we spend money to distribute these when people are just going to buy it anyway?
Right, but the idea is all we want is people to buy, so we're looking for an incentive. Like, we're looking to create incentive, rather. So if the
they did it through the media.
Right, so the media is the incentive. Let's save some money here.
Right.
We're getting, basically what they're saying is we're getting free ads.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, we might run out of toilet paper, and then everybody just books it to the store.
It's craziness. And
I know.
Every single time that this happens, people freak out. And then it doesn't happen. Like, oh, there's a huge hurricane coming, like the last hurricane that was over here by me. Everybody freaks out. Nothing happens. And then nobody learns from it. Like, just be prepared. You don't have to panic.
Right.
Just be prepared.
Yeah, I laugh that like everybody's grabbing, like eggs and bread and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's going to be there in 2 days, like even if you run out, like you can survive off of eggs and bread for a day.
Like how much French toast are you making during this storm?
Right.
That's what I want to know.
But no, I know. But no, it's fine. I picked up stuff to make like chicken chili tonight and just gonna cozy up here for a couple of days.
I love that. Nest. Yeah. I love the idea of nesting. So you mentioned working for P&G. This is going to sound really weird, but ever since I was a kid, I was enamored by Procter & Gamble because Procter & Gamble is a huge part of TV history.
Oh, interesting.
Well, you trace Procter & Gamble all the way back to the advent of soap operas.
Right.
Procter & Gamble advertising on soap operas was like the beginning of like television. Maybe not quite the beginning of TV, but P&G was massive. P&G, I mean, and I can't even spit all the facts, but P&G's like just they're a huge company now. They were huge back then.
Right. Always have been.
Thank you for contributing to that thought.
Well, no, I mean, I've always known that P&G was a large company, but then when they were starting off as one of my clients, I started to realize like how big they actually are. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but it's just crazy looking at like so many brands and how they're all bundled up under like only like a handful of these small CPG companies.
Well, so who is P&G's bath soap?
They have like Old Spice, Olay.
They're not Lever. They're not Lever's Unilever. Who's Dove?
I think that's Unilever.
Dove is also Unilever?
Yeah.
Dove wasn't always Unilever. See, these are the fascinating companies to me. When you really look at like American history and you look at these companies, like, and I don't know, maybe Dove's not even American for all I know. P&G's an American company, right? Always has been.
Yep. As
far as I know.
Yeah, it started in Cincinnati. It's always been here.
And like I think so was Monsanto, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just fascinating to me to look at the history of these product companies and how they've evolved over, a century, if not longer. I'm fascinated by like the history of flour. I'm fascinated by the history of like soap and products like that. The idea of lather was a marketing tactic. It's not a benefit. It was a marketing strategy.
Right.
And then you look at something like, you go over to something like flour, and you go, cake mix, instant cake mix was just a marketing tactic to sell more flour. They had, and I believe it was Monsanto, but not just Monsanto, but at the time they had sold so much flour, they were like, how do we sell more flour? Well, we got to repackage it. So what do? We sell instant cake mix, and we create this product that's based off of flour, but now we're selling something to everybody again through the guise of solving this problem, which is making a cake quicker.
That's wild to me. Like the fact that they have that in cake mix, brownie mix, cookies, cornbread, like
they're just selling you flour.
Completely evolved.
But it's like that's no different than Oscar Mayer selling you the hot dog in the bun.
Right.
It really isn't.
Yeah. People just getting creative.
But you know, it is when you look at what marketing really is and how marketing influences every aspect of our life.
Yeah.
It is remarkable to pull back the curtain on that. So being somebody who worked at P&G, I'm sure you got 100 stories on things that didn't just work, but things that failed. It's the failures to me that are fascinating. Like the launch of trying to redefine a product and then having it flop.
Right. Yeah, and they're not going to know until they put it out there either. So I think they've had plenty of trial and errors over the decades that P&G's been around.
You know, but there's products like, and not that this is P&G, but to the point, there's products like New Coke. Like I remember that failing. Crystal Pepsi. Oh, yeah. You know, I could just think of so many products that came and went. You know.
Right.
And it's fascinating. P&G is like an iconic American consumer product brand.
Right. It really is. Yeah, and then I actually just thought of like one other thing. I don't remember. Do you know who Dole is under?
Is Dole under somebody?
I thought they were, but maybe they're their own like
Mott's
parent company.
I thought Dole stood alone.
Well, anyway. What's that?
I thought Dole stood alone.
Maybe they do. But I thought of something really funny when we were talking about, you know, marketing for certain products. And with Dole, I looked up this product the other day. You know, they make these like acai bowls. I think they're frozen, and then you let them like thaw out, whatever. And when I looked at these bowls, I was like, oh, those actually look pretty good. And then, you know, I always look at like ingredients and I look at like nutrition value, especially with like protein. And, you know, the basic bowls have like 3 grams of protein. But then I saw that they advertise that they have Dole acai protein bowls. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like how did they put more protein in these bowls? And then I look at it and it's like 5 grams of protein. I was like, how can they get away with putting 3 grams of protein in the normal bowl and then 5 grams in the protein bowl? You're just adding 2 grams. And 5 grams is also nothing when you're talking about how much protein a person needs for a meal.
Well,
like,
they're not saying it's 3 to 1.
That to me is like a scam with marketing.
Well, it is more. It's kind of like when they do 30% more, you know?
Yeah. But like 2 grams, I'm like, how much protein needs to be in something for them to advertise like that there's more protein in it, you know?
Dole's a fascinating company too, though.
Yeah.
And look, that's just marketing as a whole. So you're not lying there. They're not saying it's new and improved. They're just saying there's more, and there's more. There's 50%
I guess that's
more.
What it comes down to.
Right, but 50% would be 1.5. No.
Yeah.
So it's more than 50%. It's more.
I just laugh because when I think of something that's advertised as having protein in it, it's more than like 10 grams.
So here's the real question I have for you. When you go to the grocery store, do you look at the cost and then the ounces and then figure out the better deal next to the two? In other words, if the same item is being presented to you, do you look at the two and then figure out the math, or do you just buy?
Not only do I do that, but I also look on Amazon and see if it's cheaper.
Like,
I mean, it depends on what it is. Like,
you scan items on your phone?
Sometimes, yeah.
So this is kind of a. Can you hear my stomach growling? My stomach is growling.
You want an acai bowl?
Can you hear that?
No.
Oh, then it's not growling at all. First of all, isn't it pronounced the sigh?
No.
I
don't think so.
I've never known how to pronounce it. I used to think it was a kai, and then I thought it was a sigh. So it's a sigh.
Acai.
Acai.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the first time I had it was like in Hawaii, which is like it's very popular over there, and that's how they pronounced it.
I don't know how to say it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
So you've been to the Dole. Oh, we'll get back to the shelf in a second, but you've been to the Dole farm in Hawaii?
No, I haven't. I drove by it, but I did not go into the plantation itself.
Dole's on a whole other level.
What's that?
They're just on a whole other level. I mean, like they're their own like thing. They're their own destination. I mean, you go to the Dole thing. There's a Dole maze. You can get Dole Whip there. You can get. I mean, Dole Whip's not just a Disney thing.
Oh no, not at all.
Most people don't know that.
What's that?
Most people don't know that, and they also don't know that there's no dairy in Dole Whip.
Yeah, it's coconut milk, right?
I'm not sure what it is. I just know it's not dairy. I think it's. I don't know what.
I don't. This is gonna sound really crazy. I don't think I've ever had a Dole Whip before.
That's nuts.
I know. So I have a thing against coconut.
There's no coconut in Dole Whip.
I thought there was. Like,
no,
I thought
I don't
it was
like coconut.
Instead of. Oh, okay. Well,
I rest assured you're getting good information right now because I do not like coconut. I don't like the texture of coconut. I've learned to stomach it when it's very lightly in something like a coconut shrimp.
Yeah.
There's like a regular Dole Whip there's no coconut. There's no coconut milk.
But there's like some cream-based product in it, right?
No, there's no dairy in a Dole Whip.
No, I know, but like I think that's why I thought it was coconut because when you look at like dairy-free products, you think about like coconut milk and.
I'm not. If you can Google it, look it up. But I rest assured, Kensie, because I'm not a coconut person, so I'm giving you good info. I promise.
I think I just have to go back to Disney and just see for myself.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to encourage, obviously.
Right.
So going back to, but Dole is really fun. Like if anyone has the opportunity in Hawaii to go to the Dole farm, experience the maze, there's a ton of Dole products there. But going back to the shelf, so not only do you look at that, you look on Amazon. So in real time, you'll like price check.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not for, produce and meat and things like that, which I probably could get through Amazon Fresh. But I do that for like household items.
Right.
Because a lot of times like you can get like bundle packs on Amazon, especially for like deodorant and toothpaste. So things like that. But I mean, I think just because I was in the coupon business for a long time, like I'm always looking for like a good deal because I know they're out there.
But I find oftentimes that bundle packs on the shelf, it tends to go the other way. Like in other words, you're getting less value by buying the bundle. Sometimes you're better off buying it a la carte. You're getting more for the price.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
What do you mean why it is? It's a strategy to sell more crap. You think you visually think you're getting more for the price because you're getting more, and the price doesn't look like that much more than the price next to it. But if you break down the math, you're like, oh, I'm spending this much more for what percent? It doesn't always cut that way. But I just wonder how many people don't do that. I look at everything. I try to.
Oh yeah. I just did that the other day. We went to Target and I just finished this book that I was reading and I wanted the sequel and I saw it on the shelf there and I looked on Amazon, to compare the two prices. Amazon was like $3 cheaper and I was like, I really want to read this book, but like, do I want to spend an extra $3 to get it right now in Target? And Brian looks at me and he's like, are you kidding me right now? Just get the book.
Do you want to know how?
But $3 is $3.
No, I'm with you. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm 100% with you.
I know. And I feel bad because I wanted to like buy it at like a local bookstore or like get it from my library, but it was right there and I just wanted it. And they marked them up so much at local stores, and like that's terrible for me to say that because I love supporting small local businesses, but sometimes when that book is like, you know, $7 cheaper at Target or Amazon, it's really hard to like, you know, make that decision.
Listen, I'm obsessive. So like I went to Best Buy the other day and I was going to buy a computer because I'm trying to upgrade everything. And the girl convinced me to build the computer, which I've never built a computer before, but I figured I could do it. I just needed to know exactly what parts to buy. Give me a little guidance. If I have to go.
Yeah, that's a fun project.
Right. So I built a computer. It took me like a day to build it. I built it from scratch, but she gave me all the things I needed to. She walked me around. She was super helpful. And she was younger, and I said to her, I go, you know, most people aren't this helpful. She's like, really? So like she got what I was doing because she watches things, whatever. So she guided me. But I spent so much time in the store. Like, I don't know about you. I have to leave at a certain point. So I bought everything and I put it on the credit card, and I didn't even think about Amazon matching it like in the store because it was so many pieces. I didn't want to stand at the register. I know I can go do it later. You can literally go on Best Buy's website and like use their bot to price match. So I go home, and before I ever build this computer, I have, because it's different boxes, I have all the boxes laid out. And I go to Amazon, and I go put everything in my shopping cart on Amazon and compare what I just bought.
Yeah.
Right? Then I go do it on Newegg. Then I go to Best Buy, and it takes hours typing with them. But I'm typing with them because I'm starting to, like, do my research on how I have to build this thing before I open anything.
Yeah.
And I get Amazon to price match half of what I bought. And I saved another like $200 just from sitting there doing that.
Wow.
And I was like, before I opened anything, because I was like, if you don't price match it, I'll just go order it from Amazon and return this one.
Right.
You know, so ultimately, like by the time I got to the last item, it was like a $20 like difference on the monitor, and they weren't going to do it. And I was like, you know what? I'll eat the $20. I'm not eating it, but like, I just saved so much. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to go running around and go get another monitor to save $20.
Yeah. Right. In the grand scheme of things with all the other items you're getting.
But because I took the time before I raced to open up anything, and the last credit they gave me, they were like, look, they basically were like, we've given you enough money back. We're going to give you a store credit. I was like, that's fine.
They're like, we can't lose you to Amazon.
Well, yeah, because I was like, oh, and at one point she was like, sir, this isn't the right one. I'm like, this one. She goes, that's not the right one. And like, I found it on like a third site that they had. She was like, it was basically like, I spent so much time on there, but it was $200 is $200.
Yeah, exactly.
I built a computer that's like, you know, 3 times. I built a computer for a third of the cost of what it would have cost for the same power, if not more powerful.
Jeez.
Like I saved, like just by building it myself and then doing that. Like I built it for next to, like not next to nothing, but I built it like, you know, at a probably 40% of cost, if not less.
Yeah, like a fraction of what it would have cost.
But I didn't even open anything because I was so neurotic about that. So I'm like, every dollar counts.
Yeah, I'm with you there, especially now and like with how much everything costs, like, you know, inflation and all the other things that are happening. I think it's just being smart, you know, even if it takes, you know, another minute to look it up and do the cost comparisons. Part of me, it's really painful though. Part of me hates shopping with Amazon just because of like Jeff Bezos and I you know, like Amazon's running everybody out of business. Like Best Buy is not going to be around forever.
Yeah, but everybody has their go at it. Walmart had their go at it. Okay. And that's the irony of Walmart is Sam Walton started was a little shop. Now, you know, retail was an innovation too.
Yeah.
People used to go up to the counter and tell them what they wanted. So the idea of your own shopping was an innovation, much like self-checkout.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam Walton had that first, right? Walmart put all the mom and pops out of business, and then Walmart started to suffer, and then people were starting to have a void, and Amazon filled that void. So you can't fault Bezos. It's the natural evolution.
Right.
Bezos is a genius. I think. I think he's turned. I think he looks like a twerp. Okay. I think he was way cooler in the early days. I'm not going to comment on Lauren Sanchez. I'm not going to comment on his relationship with her. I think, Mackenzie was probably a huge part of him getting as far as he got, obviously. Okay.
No, she's incredible.
But I don't care about any of that stuff. This is my point. That's why I'm not going to comment on it. Now, what I will say is, like, the yachts and all the excess, like, I mean, what other human being wouldn't then go live the magazine cover lifestyle? However, what that man set out and accomplished in the course of just 20 years took Amazon from an online bookstore to a retailer that had everything to an internet infrastructure company. I mean, it's remarkable. You can't. How do you dislike somebody? Unlike Elon Musk, he actually built stuff from the ground up, from his garage.
Yeah. Well, I look at people like his ex-wife, Mackenzie, who has donated, I think, over like $16 billion to charitable organizations. And I just that is what you do with your money when you have everything, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's like a huge slap in his face, which is like, it's kind of funny to me, but when you see things like that, you have some faith in like the higher power.
I try not to. It's kind of like the conversation we had this on the live during the marathon, about music, where people are like, "Oh, I'm not going to listen to so and so's music because of what they're up to," and I'm like, I'm not that person. Like, I can have all the issues in the world with the individual or have no thoughts on the individual, but enjoy the heck out of their so-and-so art or their media, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, irrespective of what I may think of Bezos. Now, I do think Amazon has, it used to be you could get something on Amazon within a day. I think that the service quality has dropped tremendously.
Yes.
So, I will say that, but I don't care like what Bezos is up to. And I think when politicians go after Amazon and say that Amazon shouldn't be opening up in their city and trying to thwart Amazon from creating new jobs, I think that's ridiculous. I think if you want to argue,
because they didn't do that with Walmart.
Right, but if you want, right, because their whole thing is they have other gripes, and I'm like, that is not the hill to die on. Like, don't stop jobs coming to your city because you have an emotional issue with Jeff Bezos. And AOC did that in New York.
Yeah. Well, and I have to believe that Amazon has brought so many jobs to just the states in general, with how many factories and plants and drivers and like how Amazon's huge.
Look, it's a double-edged sword, okay? But what I like is, and I think you and I are on the same page with all this stuff, is I like to leverage the credit card. I like to leverage the company. So I know I can order something from Amazon and get it. And if I don't like it, I can return it. If I bought it from Best Buy, I can go price match it like we just talked about. I know as far the returning process with Amazon is super easy, so I can buy something.
So easy.
I could just go drop it off at the UPS store. I can print the label for my printer at home. If I have a real issue, I can call up my credit card company and be like, hey, not that I've ever had to do that with Amazon, but I've certainly had to do that with other companies. I had to do that with TikTok recently. TikTok took my card and charged me for things that I never used it for.
Yeah.
But I like having those layers, and the same way I like having the apps, like I've learned to do that. Catherine put me on to more of those. I used to stay away from them, but I like the fact that if you use things intelligently, you can get a benefit. You can put your stuff to work for you. get your miles.
That reminds me, I have done this numerous times where I've bought something on Amazon for like a one-time use and then I return it.
Oh yeah.
Like a Halloween costume. That's so bad, but
no, you're not. Yeah,
I'm never going to use this again.
Yeah, but that's fine. I mean, whatever. You're not supposed to do that. But like, I'll tell you something. Like, in the world of like, I used to do commercial. I was a PA for like a production assistant for commercials in New York City, and we would be doing like a $3 million like Fannie Mae commercial.
Yeah.
And they would send us to go buy a wardrobe. They'd send us to go buy whatever. We were just runners. And they would go send us to some like store in like Queens to go buy a bunch of wardrobe. They would tuck like all the tags in on the clothes during shooting, and then have us go return all the clothes back to the store at the end of the weekend. So that's a multi-million-dollar Fannie Mae commercial.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But funny. I like using all those systems. Like I didn't care when I went to Best Buy if like, in other words, like I know the salespeople were probably like, oh, look at that great sale. Boy, we got one on this guy because I didn't even price match. It's like, no, go home and do that.
Right. Otherwise you're just spending, a lot of time in the store, and yeah, it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, I got the chat open. I'm multitasking. I'm over there double checking other things, and so by the time it was all said and done, I might have put a couple extra hours of work into it, but I saved some money. I've learned a bunch of stuff. I didn't rush into I don't know. That's just how I do everything. Like, I can buy anything, and then I'll spend the next, 3 days going, did I get the best deal?
I've totally done that before, especially when it's, a big purchase.
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, I did that when I bought my house. I was like, was this the right one?
That's hilarious. And that's a tough one to back out of. You don't even want to know the answer. At that point, you just accept it.
Hey, I got under 3% interest rate in 2020. I'm happy.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
wild.
Good. I know. Makes me never want to move again.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That was a time to buy.
Oh, I know. What was I going to say to you? Oh, so on that same vein, since we're just talking about the apps and working the systems, it's like you use the Delta card to get your miles, then you get on the upgrade list. I think we've talked about this privately. Yeah. And then you get on the upgrade list, and then you get the free upgrades. Right. And it pays for itself.
I know, especially with all the other perks that you get too. You get TSA and global entry reimbursed, and I think you get a companion ticket and free checked bags. It's nice.
If you got all these things going, and then you hook that up to your Starbucks, it's just being smart about it. The stuff is out there. I don't know.
Yeah. It's great partnership. The Delta's working with Starbucks, Lyft, Marriott, those are all travel essentials, I feel like.
A lot of it becomes gamification, and I get that. And so some of it's just pure fun. But I like the idea, I go to Dunkin' Donuts all the time, especially now that I'm not in the parks in the morning. I've been doing a lot of work, and I will be back in the parks soon. I'm so excited with all this tech I've been putting together, and to be able to basically cut in and out of my lives like a TV station. Be like, oh, we're here in Epcot. Let's cut to a Zen loop. Oh, we're back. I'm at the house now. Oh, let's go back to a Zen loop. Oh, I'm back at Fantasmic. Seamless. I can't wait. TV studio level. And some people can't wrap their head around it, and they're too impatient for it. C'est la vie. You know what I mean, Kensie? I don't there's I'll hold the door open at this point.
Oh yeah, I think I commented on when you were on the People Mover, and I was like, is this live? And somebody was like, no, I think this is bad, or it was weird quality or something like that. And I just laughed. I was like, yeah, I know it's not live, but I was just making a joke because I feel like back in the day, there were always comments of people being like, is this pre-recorded? Is this live? Right.
And now here we are. But I'm not doing that to be surreptitious. I was testing it. So I'm aware that the quality's not good. That's why I'm doing it.
Oh yeah. I know. It was just a funny joke.
Well, I went live yesterday I know, but like I went live yesterday and like I had my face in the corner, you know, because I was just like I was out of the way, but I didn't want to be like completely off camera because then somebody would be like, you know, whatever. And like then right away it's like I don't like the face in the corner, and it's like nobody asked. Like I'm not taking a survey.
Dang, that is so rude.
Me or them?
Them.
Oh, I think I'm being rude, but I don't really care.
No, if they're saying they don't like the face in the corner,
they're just like they didn't like the tiny box.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know.
I'm like, but I didn't ask.
Funny because people feel like entitled to make like comments and voice their own opinion. Like,
somebody else was like, I don't think these replays are gonna work. I'm like, I didn't ask you.
What does that even mean? Like if they're up there, then like yeah, they're working, or do they think that people just aren't gonna watch them?
But I'm not trying to do replays. Like it's not the point. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish. And I can only explain it so many times. The idea here is not to be doing replays. I got a much bigger plan, but if I have to explain it every single time I'm on, I can't get anything done. So I just turned the comments off yesterday because I was like, I'm in testing mode. Let me test. I've been live for 5 minutes. I'm not running. When I run the poll and you see the little blue clipboard, then you'll know that I want to hear your thoughts.
Right.
So I turned off the comments because I didn't want to hear. I literally said on the live, I go, these comments are just not worth it right now. I might have called them trash, but I can't help it anymore. You know what it is, Kensie? Now that you've got me on this rant, even though you had nothing to do with this, I feel as though after years of dealing with the ebb and the flow of it all with the audience, I feel like there's been the beginning phase of everything is cool, we're having fun, it's positive, to it starts to degrade because the toxicity bubbles up, and then, you know, it just kind of forces you to be real about things because, you know, why not? You know, you're going to be true to yourself. So you start to manage the toxicity, and then you get to the point where you come out the other end of everything, meaning you're here, you're successful, you've done it all, you've conquered the mountain as far as I'm concerned, both in the parks and on TikTok, and you look at what's next. And you're like, you almost just want to start over because you welcome the challenge and you welcome the exodus of certain viewers.
Well, yeah, and that's how you got to, you know, where you are now. You saw all of this, you know, live streaming in the parks as a challenge, and it was a new beginning. And then over time, people did, you know, their own version of it. But it all stems from, I feel like most people just don't have like the original content. So, you know, you have to, you know, with everything that you're doing, you have to test it out. You have to evolve over time, but there's just a lot of like creativity that has to go into it. And if you have all these comments in there that are distracting, then, you know, you lose your own ebb and flow.
But like for me personally, like just personally, like the self-discovery that I've had in the last 6 weeks, and I don't mean any of that with live streaming. I mean, I went to that meeting in New York. And from that moment that I had that meeting in New York to now, I have learned more stuff than I thought I would ever learn, like in respect to what I was trying to accomplish. Like I went in there going, I'm trying to do this thing. And the guy goes, this is how you do it. And then I went home and I just started digging. And then and then it was like, then it got to the point where it's like, the girl's like, build the computer. I'm like, well, that's going to slow me down. But okay, wait, cost benefit analysis. Then I was like, well, so now how do you build a computer? So now I'm like, I got to, like, it just, I get into that, you want to talk about nesting, I get into that entrepreneurial phase, that entrepreneurial mindset, that early phase of discovery, and I nest. Yeah. Like, I nest. Like, it's like, it's like a laboratory.
Right. And like, that's something you can't force on yourself if somebody's trying to push it on you. Like, you have to, that has to be completely like self-motivated and like uninterrupted.
Well, and that's why I did that marathon. And I knew it wasn't for everybody. And I knew some people would watch and some wouldn't. And I didn't really care. I just was like, all right, you want to see my process as opposed to wondering where I am? Here, let me, you know, the idea for the marathon started out as one thing. And then I learned more and more than I thought I would. And now if I was going to do a real marathon, like in another month or two, it'd be 100 times better than anything. And it would involve the parks because it would be seamless. Like I like even up until like this morning, I'm like discovering these new things and I'm like, oh my God, problem solved. Oh my God. And I just see so much bigger opportunity on the horizon than one singular thing. And I know it's very easy to just say, this is what I'm going to do, and keep my head down and accept it for what it is and whatever. But I'd much rather be on the front of something and tapping into things before they ever become mainstream. And in many ways, I'd much rather be producing other talent. And I use the term talent loosely because I'm not calling myself talent. But I'd rather be helping produce other people to use this kind of stuff that I'm building and creating than do it for myself. I'm fine with being like, you know, a social media influencer. But generally speaking, most of the people in the audience annoy me. And I've just gotten to the point where I can be that honest. They annoy me.
So
shout out to the people who watch that don't talk. Because I love you for that. Like, I know you're there. I know your name. I recognize you. But you say, hi, what's up? And then I don't even know you're there anymore.
I do that more often than you probably think I do.
Well, listen, not to get sentimental, but I'm so happy that after all these years, I have you as a podcast host, because you were the one person in the early days where I was like, oh, Kensie seems like so normal and like so chill and so capable. But to know that you have the same sense of humor as me, and we have a lot of like the similar interests, it's cool because I didn't know that. But you say you're not normal, and I'm like, look around.
Well, Brian would argue I'm not normal, but, you know,
whatever.
He knows more about me.
I'd argue that Brian's not normal. By definition, I mean, obviously it's a match made there for a reason.
Hey, he finally saw Wicked with me.
Did he cry?
No, but he was looking over at me, like waiting for the tears to just fall.
See, I thought he would have cried at the end out of like a sense of relief.
Yeah, he's like, I watched it once and I'm good.
No, he's like, I finally got out of this loop with her.
But it's funny because I have it at home now, and I've watched it like twice since I got it, and he'll be in the basement, and you know, he'll hear the music in the beginning, and all of a sudden you just hear, oh my God.
So to be a fly in the wall.
He's like, again? I'm like, yeah, just go back to your video games. Shh, it's fine.
Wait, what video games does he play?
Oh, like FIFA.
Oh, really?
That's about it. Yeah.
I digress.
But wait, no, I have a question going back to like, you know, all the new like fun technology that you're working with, and you said that you like the producing aspect of it. Would you ever say no to other content creators that come to you asking how you do it? Like, would you offer up that as like a service to build it for them?
Yeah, you got to pay for it. Like, I'll hook up my friends. Yeah, I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm more like you wanna hire me as a consultant? Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. That goes back to the conversation about emotions. Like, even if I personally don't like you, I'll take your money.
Well, I feel like there's just so much like there's so many people that are like hostile in this, you know, Diz talk world.
They're stupid.
But yeah, I know, it's really ridiculous. Like, it's like all a competition, and it's like, for what? But okay.
Kensie, I won the competition a long time ago. Case closed. I'm losing viewers and celebrating. I'm going to start doing dances when I lose viewers now. Okay. We just went under 650. When we get under 600, I'm going to do it then. Like, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just saying it's at the end of the trend cycle. That's all.
Right.
And if you're still trying to conquer that trend, you're not going to conquer it. It's over.
Yeah. But I think it is cool to you know, put yourself out there as like you said, a consultant or, you know, a producer.
Absolutely.
And for the people that are still in that world of streaming the parks on a, you know, a routine basis, they can.
But I intend to be streaming the parks on a routine basis. I'm just going to be doing it through an implementation of technology that is going to allow me to also be able to do other things without cutting the live.
Yeah, but like you said, like, you're not gatekeeping, you know, this functionality that you've built.
But the people in the parks don't need this functionality. It's not for them. It's for other streamers who want to do bigger things. In other words, would happily share information with anybody. But the people that are in the parks that are, first of all, it's an oversaturated market, right? So what does that mean? Oversaturated, overfragmented, it makes growth really, really hard. So you find yourself spinning your wheels and you're stuck in the bottom of that trend cycle. You're better off being in the front of a new trend. Now, if you're talking about implementing interactive technology or even just any of the distribution technology that I've been playing with, then you're probably already not in that world, because that park thing, the trend is of streaming the parks is not, it's in a bubble. That what we're really talking about is IRL, and that's in real life. The idea of streaming Disney is just one piece of IRL. So if there are IRL streamers out there that were looking for help to implement things, and I don't know what they're looking for, but I'm all ears. Like I'm happy to listen to what you want to do, and I would help anybody that's willing. I'm not doing it for free. My time is worth something. I just don't think that's the market. Knowing what I've tapped into, they are not the market.
Yeah. Well, what I was getting at is like, you know, like you said, you're not gatekeeping it, and you're willing to help other people if they want to do that. And I think if they do something like that, regardless if they're a Disney influencer or not, you know, then it's like another level of growth in their channel. They're being innovative with their technology, but like having you as a producer or a consultant.
No, look,
you know,
I'm going to LA, and I told Sharif that I will help him do something, because I've told him what I've been up to, and he goes, you know, obviously I see him at these events, right? We hang out, and I never thought that I would know him personally, but by being peers by default, and you get to know somebody and you realize, oh, we have a lot of, you know, commonality. And he's like, oh, you're doing this, that, and the other. He goes, well, I've always wanted to do this. And I go, I'll be in LA. I will come over and I will hook that up for you. Like, I will just do it. Because I want to solve the challenge. But then also, you know, in other words, I'll help him out because he's a good dude and he's a friend and I want to help him out. But I also personally want the challenge of solving that problem, because it's only one more thing that I know how to do.
Yeah. Well, right. The more you do it, the more you're going to learn about it and become that expert.
Right. And then everybody's going to want to be doing it at some point.
Exactly, like how live streaming started in the park.
Right, and I'm not gatekeeping, but there's a price for admission at the gate.
Yeah,
but that's not why I started doing that.
Well, you put in time and effort to, you know, build up your knowledge around this functionality, and if you build it, then I think it's like a service.
I think, and I will talk to you privately about this, but I think the clientele is much different.
Oh, okay.
I think that there's a couple places we take this, and that's an offline conversation. And I say we because I intend to at some point, you know, have my team on payroll, and I know who my team is. But I think that, look, I intend to be back in the parks at some point, and I intend to be doing it as to use your term, at a cadence that will make people happy. Okay. But I am just leveling up, and you have to slow down to do it. Without taking the time, I wouldn't be able to do it. And if I was paying somebody else, who's going to bankroll that, right? So I trade my time for my money, but I'm very comfortable in what I'm doing. And if you quote unquote think that I'm the best park streamer, which I do not buy into that notion, because you only make yourself a bad park streamer by making it about yourself. It's not that hard to be good at being a cameraman. Okay. Right. And if you understand that, then whatever. But so if that's what people really want, they're going to get it. And I'm not taking it away. It'll come back. And people, oh, Royce, it's so nice to see you back in the parks. I thought you were gone for good. Well, you weren't listening.
Right. Right. They join for a second. And then
what? I'm sorry.
If you're not in the park, they're like gone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like somebody yesterday's like, you should change your name. I'm like, you should just stop watching. That's easier for me. I don't have to click anything. Also, my name is Disney Parks DIY, and nobody goes, what are you doing yourself? Everybody goes to the parks, but like as a person.
Yeah.
If anything, DIY makes no sense.
Completely unsolicited.
Yeah, but it makes no sense, because if you're watching my stream, you're not going to the park.
Yeah.
You're not doing it yourself. I'm doing. So in other words, if you like, they're not even thinking about what's wrong with the current name.
Right. I actually asked you that. I was, because, you know, you've talked about all different like concepts for the channel over the years. And I'm like, how has nobody asked you like about the DIY concept?
But see, that's coming back too because of the educational stuff with the printer and the animatronics and but like being able to produce that content and then be able to re-air that content and not just look, I have a plan and I know what I'm doing and it's not, none of it's new to me. And it's funny when I look back at, and I was talking to somebody about this morning about how many times I've had a go at what I'm doing now over the years for other people and their infrastructure. And I've dabbled in it for myself, but now we're going to do it. And I don't, if people are too impatient, then so be it. But by the time I get back into the parks, which, you know, in theory is going to be right after Live Fest, if I get all my work done in the next 2-3 days that I think I can get done, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be the beginning of something new, and nobody's going to be doing it the way I'm doing it, and nobody does it the way I do it anyway, because I'm the lone wolf. All right, so kiss my tuchus. Go for the ride or don't. I don't really care anymore. I really can't. I don't care. I don't care.
It's just funny. It's funny when people think that like you can roll out one thing and it's like perfect, and you can just go into the parks and like everything's gonna be fine.
What happened? Okay, if I didn't do any of this, like I think what you're trying to say is putting all your eggs in one basket.
Well, I just mean like all the new technology that you're working through. Like, can you imagine just going there after like putting it together for like one day and then just expecting that everything's gonna work perfectly?
Do you understand? I have notes of things to test.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this is an extensive process, but I think people have expectations where they think that like they don't realize that.
No,
and then they get greedy, and then they have
go watch
their own
else.
Levels of expectations.
Go watch somebody else shove food in their mouth and watch the crumbs and the saliva dribble down their chin and tell yourself you're in Disney World. Okay, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Because guess what? I'm doing me, and I've always done my thing. And the part that I let go of is the name, the brand. I don't care about that. What happens? Yeah. What happens if TikTok goes away, which I don't think it is? What happens if Disney takes away the park streaming? So what happens? Everything goes away, and you're not prepared for it?
Yeah.
I'm building something far more robust.
You would be delusional if you weren't taking all of these extra steps for precaution.
Well, go look at everybody streaming the parks and ask yourselves what they're doing outside of the parks.
Yeah.
And I don't even really care. I just know what's told.
And they're going to start like live streams at home. And
but to be fair, people have been trying that over the years. And to your earlier question, I've always been one to offer up my advice to people. I mean, TikTok had me making videos of telling people how to do this, that, and the other, offer up strategy.
Yeah.
You know, when I go to these TikTok meetings and we're all sitting in a round table, you know, I chime in and I'm like, yeah, do it this way.
Right, because it's not a competition. Like, I don't.
You know, I compete with myself, Kensie.
Right, that's all that matters.
No, but it is like, I got to do this. How do you do this? I don't know.
Yeah, but you'll put in the work to figure it out.
Yeah, but most people won't.
Right, because they're kind of lazy.
So when I had the arcade business, you know, you walk up to an arcade game, you have the control panel.
Mm-hmm.
If you open up the coin door where you put the quarters in to actually play the game, you reach up in there, and if you can visualize this, I don't know if you've ever actually seen the inside of an arcade game, but if you can visualize, under the panel there's latches.
Okay.
So think latches on like a briefcase, latches on luggage, something comparable to that.
Okay.
Obviously a little bit different, but you reach up and you flip these latches up and snap them down, and that's what latches the panel in place so somebody can't just flip it open and destroy the game.
Okay.
So like 2 latches on a briefcase, piece of luggage, follow me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now imagine you've hired somebody who begged you for a job to come work with you in your arcade business.
Yep.
And after 2 months of being there, they can't latch a panel.
Okay.
Like, you would fire that person.
Right. That's a simple concept.
You should know that on day 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that, but that's indicative of like the hiring process. Like you can't get people that are going to work as hard as you. You can't even do basic functions. I can't expect you to drive the delivery truck if you can't latch a panel.
Right.
You know, I mean, so I will say that is the one thing that I don't miss about having a brick and mortar business was having a staff, because managing people and their inability to do their job is so stressful. And then going to bed the night before having to fire somebody is like the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, I have never wanted to be at a managerial status for that reason, because I don't. How do you have a conversation with somebody about like their performance or lack thereof? You know, like if people aren't motivated to work, then like who are you to change that?
But my whole example about the panel is it wasn't that you weren't smart enough to do it, is that you had no desire to do it.
Right. And like going back to my point, how do you change that about somebody? Like if they don't have that desire, or is it your job to motivate them to, or like if they don't have it, then they don't have it.
Well, right, but it's not that they don't have the ability. It's not that they don't have the capability or the functionality. It's just a lack of desire, which is a wild concept to me. Most people are just lazy, like you said, and that just boggles my mind. Yep. Yeah. You know, I have very few like friends that I talk to. But I'm very like at this point in my life, I have a decent circle of very like intelligent individuals. So what does that mean? You don't get surrounded by yes people. You get surrounded by different ideas. You get, even the silliest, and I'm going to watch this transition. Even the silliest of ideas get elevated. Even like in other words, if you surround yourself with the right people, then you only find yourself, again, there's no competition because you're not trying to like outdo the person next to you. You just keep everybody, it builds everybody up. And I find that when you surround yourself with the wrong people, then it makes it really hard for you to do that internal thing. But when you can accomplish something, and be surrounded by positivity, it sounds so simple, but I've seen it all, and it's so rewarding to not just be able to accomplish something in life, but also be surrounded by people that are like, oh yeah, like keep going, or like, how can I help? And when you find those people, like maybe that's the difference. I don't know what keeps, everybody's got a different story. I don't know what keeps people, like what the barrier is. I remember once Steve Harvey did a rant on his talk show that went viral about taking the jump. So I guess everybody's got a different reason for not taking that jump. But I think one of the reasons a lot of people don't in life is, besides their own fear, is that they're not surrounded by the right support.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually really true now that I'm thinking about it, because, we've had various turnover on the team that I'm currently on over the years. And I don't think it was like my manager. I think it was like the naysayers in the room that when somebody gets on a rant, it just brings everybody down. And I've always stuck to like that yes and concept. Like they introduced that in improv. And
correct.
If you have the yes and people in the room, then they're unstoppable. Like, you can be challenged with your thoughts.
How do you even know that?
I have a friend that went through improv, and he did like a little, kind of like a little TED talk on it. And it was like, it applies in the business world.
Who's big on that is Schwarzenegger.
Oh, really?
How do
you know that?
So, all right. Everybody settle down. Everybody relax. First of all, what improv did your friend study?
Oh, I have no idea. I think it was just like a local.
No, but like no, it wasn't local. Did they go to Second City? Was it the Groundlings.
No, it was totally local. Like, I think there's like a Cincinnati improv group here.
Yeah, but it's probably tied to something. Anyway, okay. The yes and theory in improv. Yeah, it's additive. You don't screw your partner is the phrase in improv.
Okay.
So there's like an improv exercise called What Are You Doing? And like you're like two people standing next to each other, and like I ask you what you're doing, and you're doing anything but the thing you're miming. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just the whole yes and game, and you build. And if you did I send you that Wayne Brady improv?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Well, you sent me something with Wayne Brady. It was like the song.
That was all improv.
Oh yeah. I love Whose Line Is It Anyway?
But that was a song. And it's purely additive, because if that the only way that riffs like music, and there's a bit with Wayne Brady on some YouTube show with this guy dressed as Dr. Phil, and they improv this whole song, and it's at times some very sensitive individuals will find it inappropriate. I think it's brilliant and hilarious, and one of the best improvs I've ever seen, at least musically. But it is additive purely because as soon as you challenge and don't accept anything going on there, the music stops, literally.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's funny to hear you use that. Yeah. So, yes and. Now, the reason I know about Schwarzenegger's a positive guy. Schwarzenegger always talks about how he tries to find the positive in a situation. So, even if he's saying no. Everything. So, obviously, I saw this firsthand. I have a story here. I was the regional chair, the Los Angeles regional chair for independentvoter.org. Okay. At one point after Obama's first term. I worked on Barack Obama's 2008 election. I started out originally covering it as new media, quote unquote, for companies that no longer exist. And then I wound up becoming a volunteer field organizer on Barack Obama's campaign. After Barack Obama's campaign, I linked up with this company called independentvoter.org, and I became the chapter chair for Los Angeles of independentvoter.org, which was based out of San Francisco. Sounds impressive, but there was nobody in the chapter in Los Angeles but me.
Just a one-man show.
But they were based in San Francisco. Yep. Prop 14 gets passed, and Independent Voter is supposed to do a press conference with the governor. So they get me to do it because I'm the only one in L.A.
Right.
So I held up 2 press conferences with Governor Schwarzenegger. So, and you can, this is on YouTube. You can go YouTube it. I mean, I'm in a suit and tie, and I'm doing my thing. And
now I got to see it.
I'm surprised that you don't even know this story. So
no,
that's hilarious to me because this is not the segue I was making. So needless to say, in between these 2 press conferences where the votes are coming in, it was Prop 14, and he wasn't up for election. It was Maldonado, his lieutenant governor, was up for re-election or something like that. So I'm at the party, private party. The governor is there, but he's upstairs in the jacuzzi. And we're all hanging out, and the Lakers game is on. And we're by the pool. Whatever hotel we're at, the Beverly Hotel, but I don't remember. Some swanky L.A. hotel that I probably should never be allowed into. And I'm standing there with my beer at a little 2-top, like, bar top table, watching the Lakers game, and I had heard Maldonado complaining because the numbers are coming in off the side. They got the laptop set up. You know, it's the election party, and everybody's watching the numbers come in, and Maldonado's complaining that Schwarzenegger's up in the jacuzzi. Okay. So this is a private party, right? So you're kind of supposed to act like you're supposed to be there, right?
Yep.
So minding my business, and up comes to my table as I'm watching the Lakers game is Schwarzenegger, and he goes, "Who's winning?" And I'm like, we are. And me and Arnold are just watching the Lakers game together.
That's amazing.
I'm not bothering him. I'm just hanging out with him because, like, that's the cool thing to do, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll be right back." I'm like, okay. He leaves his drink at the table with me to go check the poll numbers at the laptops. This guy comes over and he goes, "Oh, my God, when he comes back, can you get a picture of me with the governor?" And I go, "No. That's completely inappropriate."
Right.
And he goes, oh. And Arnold comes back, and before he can even get his hand on this drink, he goes, Governor, can I get a picture with you? And Arnold goes, absolutely. And he grabs his drink off the table, walks to the other side of the pool, and sits down on the couch and never comes back.
Oh, my.
Totally said no in the most positive way possible.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, you jerk. I was hanging out with the governor, and you ruined it. Like, right. I should have gone over to the couch and sat down and been like, that guy was a dweeb.
Right.
Like, I was hanging out with the governor. Like, I wasn't bothering him. He wasn't bothering me. And believe me, I'm sure he had the potential to get on my nerves. Everybody does. But I treat you, people are people. And what am I going to do with the picture?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's why Kelsey Grammer didn't give me the autograph, because he knew I couldn't give two boops about it.
Yeah.
Even
though he was shocked.
What'd you say?
Even though he was shocked.
I don't know what was going on there. But I look, so my whole move is, and I learned this well before I was ever in the entertainment industry, is you're just supposed to act like you're supposed to be there. So when everybody's going up to Kelsey Grammer and going, oh my God, I'm a huge fan, the first thing I did is I go, hey, how are you? How's your holiday been so far?
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you like we're on different levels. I'm going to talk to you like a human being. It just starts off completely different. And then after he said that, I brought up something that actually I really wanted to talk about sincerely, but I had to think about it, was this play that I saw when I was in London at the age of 13 that he was supposed to do with the cast of Frasier on Broadway. So now I'm bringing up something that nobody else is going to bring up. So it's not, oh my God, I love you on Frasier. It's unlocking a memory for him. Now it's a genuine conversation.
Yeah, that has to be refreshing for someone like him.
Yeah, so by the time you don't want this autograph. No, I really don't. Nick doesn't want it either, but it's on his fridge.
Right.
Which brings me to the segue I was going to make about elevating things. So I got that for Nick, even though Nick was like, what? He's like, I don't like his politics. And I'm like, who cares? It's Frasier. And I put it on his fridge. Okay?
Yeah.
Nick is gay. All right.
Uh-huh.
Nick just got married. And
congratulations to Nick.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't have anything to do with it. But the reason I brought up, I was talking about elevating things, and the segue I was going for was that I reached out to Kensie because he's in Brooklyn, and I was looking for a bakery. And by the way, if you don't want to hear something completely inappropriate, just tune out to the end of the podcast right now, because I'm just going to tell you the truth. All right? So heads up, no foul language, but whatever. So and this is what we're talking about, like yes and just being like contributing to things. So as crazy as I think this is, I text Kensie. I go, hey, listen, I need like a bakery in Brooklyn, like in your sister's in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Okay. But it's like, I'm looking for vegan. And she's like, oh, okay. So she's like, hold on. Like, let me see what's up. Like, and I'm like, okay. She's like, why? What are you doing? And I'm like, well, Nick's getting married and I have this crazy idea, but I want to do like this custom wedding cake. All right. And cause like, I just think it'd be really, really funny. It's just going to be like a small family gathering. And I want to send like a wedding cake with little penis candies in it. Because, it's a gay wedding. And I just thought it would be like festive and fun. And it's just really funny to me knowing that somebody who maybe is a little conservative might find out that there's little tiny penises in their mouth at some point during dessert. I just thought that was a funny idea.
So funny.
And instead of Kensie saying you're crazy, she goes, it needs to be vanilla on the outside, unsuspecting, and a rainbow cake on the inside. And I'm like, oh my God, this is why we're friends. I was like,
it just kept evolving. It was great.
But then it was like, you can't get this cake in this kind of time frame now. We've built it up. So I did something else. But I have to tell you, I told Nick the original plan.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, there's a bakery in the city that does that. And I was like, I'm going to need that information for next time.
I told you that we were probably not the first people to come up with that idea.
Well, I mean, that's more his community than mine, but I was just in it for the fun of it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny because, I know like, look, this is going to sound horrible, but like, I know his parents are conservatives. Like, and obviously they love their son and they're there to support him. But I know they're conservatives, and I know that gets under his skin from time to time. I'm an independent, but I'm here for the jokes, okay? Like we can learn through humor. I just thought it would be really, really funny to do that to his father.
How do you think they would have reacted to that?
Oh, well, listen, I've known his parents since the 3rd grade, so I don't think they would be surprised. and Nick would be laughing.
They would know that their son had nothing to do with that, and it was all you.
He would have loved it. But I just pictured Nick's dad being like, "Oh, there's little penises in my mouth," you know, I mean, on paper it was a great idea, and that's all I'm saying. Like, you know, most people would be like, "That's crazy. What's wrong with you?" Kenzie's like, "Yes, and."
Yeah. Yep.
And that's how I prefer to live.
It was great.
And then by the way, I don't remember, there was a tangent there because I was trying to get information from Nick. So I jokingly said to Nick, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kenzie. I just want to get this thought out. I said to Nick, like, to get information out of him, like, where do I send the midgets? I was joking, you know.
Yeah.
And I start.
I know where this is going.
I start sending Kenzie these screenshots of the conversation because I'm just trying to find the address out of the restaurant. And Kenzie's like, midgets, that reminds me. The next thing I know, I'm watching vacation footage from Kenzie's Mexican vacation. And there's like a little Ewok wrestler running around. He's adorable. And I'm like, your camera roll could tell some stories. I was like, oh, my God.
I know. I don't know why that made me think of it. But it just immediately brought me there. And then I was standing there across from Brian, and I was like, I wonder if we still have that video. Sure enough, that's a story for another time. But, like, I just had to share it with you.
It made me feel less absurd. You know what I mean? It made me feel like
it was definitely absurd, but
yeah. But I mean, like, because I'm like, okay, like I don't know if I've crossed the line here. I'm joking. I was laughing. I'm joking. Like, I don't know if we're crossing lines here or not at a certain point, you know, just because it's so absurd. And
yeah,
you send me this footage, and I play it, and I'm watching it for a minute, and there's a guy, and I'm like, he's short, but he's not that short. So I jump out of the video, and I text you, and I go, that is not a midget, Kenzie. And she just writes back,
you had to finish the whole thing. No, I'm joking.
I'm dead.
I wish I had I still have to look for it, but I'm pretty sure I have like a full video. Like, that was such a weird night for me. If anybody ever goes to Mexico City, you have to go to this show.
I want to produce a documentary. I want to produce a documentary just based off of what travel footage exists in your camera roll already. I'm not even joking, because like the audience knows you. So let's do like a documentary off of your camera roll. I think we should talk about this offline.
Oh my gosh.
I have tears in my eyes. But I'm like, oh, because the whole conversation started off with, I had this idea. I don't know if this is too much. And you were like, go on. And then you were just like, yes, and then the next thing you know, I'm watching, you know,
Mexican wrestling,
Mexican midget wrestling. And by the way, I had to ask you this, and I meant to ask you this personally. I'll ask you this publicly now.
Oh boy,
are they merchandising that little guy at the end?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, they are? Okay, because I feel like I want like a keychain of that guy.
Yeah, it's such a funny like thing. You're going to watch it like a show, like a completely produced show. It's called Lucha Libre. It's like Nacho Libre, essentially.
Thank you.
But no, they have like this full arena on like the outskirts of Mexico City, and then outside is just, it looks kind of like a carnival almost. Everything's all lit up, and they have like tents where they're selling like masks and merch and all this stuff. Like, it was such an experience. And I've been to Mexico City like 5 times, and that was the one thing I haven't done yet that I had to do last time I went.
Oh my god. So they actually sell like merch of that little guy?
Yeah, they do.
Like plush?
I'm trying to remember.
Check your footage. You know you took
that
pictures
was
of
that
the
was like
merch.
3 years ago, but oh my gosh,
I don't have to tell you how to search
it was
it,
so
Cameron.
funny. Yeah, I mean, we went like I think we got up at 3 a.m. for our flight down there, and by the time we went to the show, it was like 9 p.m. and we're just like so delusionally tired. And we had no idea what we were walking into. I just had a friend that was like, you have to go to the show. And I was like, okay, you know, why not? Like, we debated on going because we were so tired. And by the time we got there, we were just like in tears laughing, and we had beers, and like, it was just so funny looking back at all of that.
Well, I know there's another story you can tell, but we'll save it for the end of next show. Maybe this is like our little post show, because this is the kind of conversation we probably would have normally had after record.
Yep.
So there you go. There's your little bonus. But I think that you got to share next week. Like, remember to share the Japan story.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, because like I've only really heard it through text message anyway.
Yep.
I've never even gotten the full, so that'll be a good one. And we'll do it at maybe like the end of next week. But look, I'm so happy that we're back doing this. I got the radio shows back in the groove this week. You know, we were doing the marathon thing and whatnot. It's all coming together. It's going to be a big year. And when are you getting married? What's the date again?
October 19.
Why'd you say it like that?
Because it's still like so far away, but I know it's going to come up really quickly.
My God,
so,
you know, the whole tone of the
there's
show.
a lot to do.
Yeah, that was like a very stressful answer. I felt that stress, like legitimately.
Because I don't think I've looked at anything for the wedding in like probably like 3 weeks. And I know that tomorrow I have to like look at my checklist because I have to do stuff this month. So I've just been like dreading that.
All right. And then I think at some point we are going to get your sister to come on the show.
Are you sure?
Well, it's pre-recorded. I have all the control of editing. I mean, why, are you against this?
I just know my sister.
Yeah, I mean, listen, first of all, you two trying to like jump on the live during my marathon or whatever was going on then.
Oh my.
I'm like, what are these two drinking? I knew you were.
We were completely sober, which was the funniest part. But we were just sitting next to each other, and we were laughing so hard. Like, we were just being completely obnoxious, which was the entire goal. But like, people had to hate us.
But I don't care.
You know that people were annoyed with us.
It's like it's what you do to me when you would run up to me in the parks, the two of you. You just do that whole like, oh my God, and I'm like, oh, please stop. I enjoy it. But.
No, it was funny because I even like just planted that seed in her. I was like, try to like join the live, and she's like, oh my gosh, and we just rolled with it.
No, I'm not. I don't want your like, and like I would have you on. I don't want her on like that. If I can control it in post production,
it would have been great entertainment. I will say that.
For you, you would have been laughing at yourself the whole time.
No, I think people would have enjoyed it.
Yeah, okay. So now the channel's just completely off the rails. I don't know. I do think she has some information to share on the show at some point that would be insightful.
Yep.
I told her.
Definitely does.
She said that you said no to Cali Grill.
I didn't say that.
I told her yesterday. She goes, Kensie said no.
What?
Yeah. I said, because I told her, I go, when are you taking me to Cali Grill? And she goes, Kensie said no. I'm like, what? I'm gonna make her take me to Cali Grill and treat me to Cali Grill to give her airtime.
I don't even know what that means.
What do you mean? That you said no?
That I said no?
I think she was just trying to make an excuse. You know?
I think she's messing with you.
Like do something and then cancel at 4 a.m.
She's never going to do anything for you.
But I know that after that moment. I did want her help, but I don't need it. But it would, you know, I do want help. And this is more of the offline conversation. And I do think, all jokes aside, she is somebody that is capable of helping at some point. But it's fun to bust chops. And I barely even know your sister, but boy, does she love to give me a hard time.
Oh, yeah, she loves it.
Yeah, but so my whole thing is this. I will have this meeting with her at Cali Grill. She foots the bill. That way I get a free meal and have to deal with her. Like, that's like the price that I pay for having to deal with her to put her on the air.
Don't get your hopes up.
Well, then it's not happening. Then I'll just find somebody else. I'm not paying for it. And I because that's what happened. I'll be like, oh, you're helping me out. You're doing a thing. You know, you're contributing to the show. I'll pick it up. It's a write-off. I'm not doing that.
It could be a write-off.
That's what I'm saying. So she can write it off. If I got to put up with her, then there should be some upside. Because the subject matter certainly isn't the upside.
I get it.
The subject matter is not the upside. I mean, like, can we just say what we want to talk to her about? Do we even care?
Maybe just wait.
Okay. Boy, that's a good way to end the show. It's Disney related, though.
Cliffhanger.
It's Disney related. Yes. Ooh, are you going back in the parks?
What voice was that?
The voice of the collective audience. I'm like the anti-influencer. I'm really like, please don't just let me put out my content and then don't watch it.
Oh my gosh, your comments about your Christmas present made me laugh so hard.
What are you talking about?
You're like, why did you guys get me anything? You shouldn't have got me anything.
I don't want people to get me anything.
Just say thank you.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not necessary, and then it like becomes a whole mishigas for one person, and then it's like you know, you don't have to do it collectively. Just do what you want to do if you want to do anything at all. But I don't need people to do anything. People show their support year round. Here's the problem I have with the holidays. Okay, look, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the world, so I'll just say this much, and then we'll get out of here. We had 2 tragedies right in the new year. And I'm listening to the news, and one of the quotes was, "This is so horrible to have this happen in the new year." And I'm like, it's horrible to have this happen any day of the year.
Yeah.
So this false idea that it's the holidays or the new year and like the way people treat each other or the way people carry themselves should be altered for the time of the year. I have a hard time with that. So that's my only gripe is like, so I get support all year round from my audience. I don't sincerely need people to send me anything for the holidays. Like, I'm just thankful to be in the position that I get to do what I do. There's people that are going to be along for the ride, that get my sense of humor, that get the evolution of things, and those that won't. And quite frankly, there's some that I'd like to send invitations to leave. But you can't do that yet. We don't have a setup for that. I'm working on it. But it's one of those things where you're like, I don't know. I'm very appreciative of where I'm at with all things, and I don't feel like my audience needs to do anything extra because it's the holidays. Just like I don't think like we should be having to do anything extra because it's the holidays. We should be trying to be civil towards people year round. We should be trying to be human beings towards people all year round. We should be trying to be considerate and kind and understanding all year round. Just because it's some this brings the whole conversation full circle, Kenzie, but because it's some marketing tactic to sell crap. I mean, I go into Walmart. I mean, it's Christmas, then it's New Year's, then it's Valentine's Day. I'm like, oh my God, did anybody sleep in this store?
Next, it's going to be Easter in like a week.
I walk in the door and I just get hit with whatever season. It's the seasonal aisles right there, and they're doing it. And I'm like, and the best thing is New Year's, everybody knows New Year's is a joke. So New Year's just got some free-floating cardboard kiosk with a bunch of crap in it. Okay?
Hallmark
Valentine's
is
gets
thriving.
4 rows. What?
I said Hallmark is thriving.
It's just, it's the holidays are all marketing. You know, just like everything else we're talking about.
It's like Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I love you.
I don't want anything. I just want to go to dinner.
Just take me out to dinner. Like, it's a good excuse for a date night, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Don't get me chocolates. Don't get a teddy bear. Like, ugh.
Well, you know, the problem I have with all that is that's just doing exactly what the marketing tells you to do, and I'm just always the person that runs the opposite way of whatever the masses are doing.
Yeah.
So I've never put up a Christmas tree. I was raised Jewish, fine. I don't even put up a menorah. I just don't like I love the season and the spirit of the holidays. I don't like the functionality of the holidays and the marketing of the holidays because it's disingenuous.
Yeah. I eat that stuff up. It's bad. Not for like Valentine's Day or like the 4th of July or whatever, like, but Christmas, I eat it up.
Please don't get me wrong.
I'm exactly a marketer's dream.
No, please don't get me wrong, because there's nothing I love more than Main Street on Christmas, and I did not do that this year after a certain point, you know. I saw it.
Yeah.
But, like, I love Christmas and Disney. I love all of that. Like, I love the spirit of Christmas. I'm separating the spirit of the holiday from the marketing. One of these people that, for me, and I've worked in stores before, I just look at it as it's just the seasonal aisle. It's the seasonal aisle.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get out of here. This is way too long of a show.
We're rambling at this point.
Are we, though?
No, I think it's pretty productive, but
I think we're done.
It's time to go.
I mean, we've come full circle back to marketing, so it is what it is.
Yep.
Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you next week. And Kensie, remember to tell that story next week about Japan.
I will. Happy New Year.